Healthy choices, helping you live healthier. Sponsored by Intermountain Health.
Welcome back, everyone. The ER, InstaCare, or Virtual Connect Care. Which care is right for you?
Knowing the right answer can save you time and money. Joining us now in this sponsored interview to help us answer that question is Dr. Nate Miller. Now, I was just telling you this is such a relevant topic right now because I feel like everyone in the world is sick, and it can be really hard to know where to go for the care that you need.
It really is, and hopefully we can talk about some of those options.
All right, let's start with virtual. You know, that's a mom's dream to not have to leave the house, but what symptoms are we looking for when we can just dial up and talk to a doctor?
The thing to remember about virtual is that, you know, it's something that you don't need a physician or a PA to physically see you. You know, so if you have some minor symptoms, minor cough, cold, flu type symptoms, those are excellent things that you'd be able to do virtually.
So these are typically things that you can explain your symptoms and you're not in an emergency.
Exactly. You can explain them, or even show, you know, over your camera on your smartphone. You can show maybe a little rash, or you know, show a few symptoms, but mostly explaining it because it would be virtual.
And for kids too, especially, you don't want to drag your kids if it's just, oh, it seems like a common cold and you just need a prescription. Potentially, doctors can write that as well through
Absolutely.
Zoom. Okay.
Yep, they can do prescriptions, and you're right, where you don't want to have to drag them out of the house in the middle of the night because it is a 24/7 option.
Well, and let's talk about the cost, because I think some people can be nervous about what's going on, and so they'll come into an appointment, but they may not need to.
Right. So the cost for Connect Care is about $49, and that's it's covered by most insurance. Many insurance plans will cover it, and the physician assistant or the nurse practitioner that's on there evaluating you, if they see that you need an upgrade in care, that you need to go in and be seen in the ER or in an urgent care, that fee gets waived too.
Okay, excellent. Good to know that. So what about when you see symptoms maybe a little bit more intense and you do need maybe some InstaCare? When do we know to go there?
Good question. InstaCare it's an urgent care option. So if you have something where you need to be seen by somebody physically, unlike the Connect Care option, but urgent care, things like cough and cold that we were already talking about, maybe minor lacerations that might need stitched, things that might need some basic labs, and even some x-rays can be done from an urgent care setting.
Things where you definitely need that in-person care. How hard can it be to get in and get an appointment?
It's usually not very hard. It's usually, I mean, that's the purpose that they are there for, that, to be able to be seen, you know, pretty immediately, same day, when you can't get in to see your primary care doctor.
Right, to be able to walk in. I have a question though. What if you know your body and you know, oh, I might have some bronchitis? Is it something like you know what your symptoms are? Can you still maybe do Connect Care and say, this is what I usually take when I have bronchitis? Or is
Absolutely.
that something that I would have to go to InstaCare for?
No, absolutely. If you try the Connect Care route first, that's always a good option. And then they can always, if they feel like you need to be seen in person by somebody, they can always direct you in that way.
And you say the cost varies here depending on your needs?
For the urgent care, InstaCare, yes, the cost would vary depending on what how many different tests they do, depending on what the situation is.
Well, this information is really important because we don't want to flood the emergency rooms. But if your symptoms rise to the level of an emergency, definitely go to the ER. But what are some of those cases, doctor?
Absolutely. There are some things where we definitely want you to be in the ER, things where you're having chest pain and chest pressure, shortness of breath. You know, there's a difference between having a cough but actually being short of breath. Things where you're worried about somebody having a stroke. Definitely the ER is the place to be for that. Broken bones, where you see, you know, there's an obvious deformity after falling and landing on your wrist. Stitches, you know, and the ER is also, it's the only place that's open 24/7 where you can be seen physically 24/7.
Major wounds, I suspect, too, or some of those options. And maybe kids who you're not quite sure what is going on. and that they need immediate care.
Exactly. We've all woken up, any one of us that has kids, we've woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning and they're coughing, they have a croupy, kind of barking seal type of a cough. They look short of breath. Those are absolutely times when that's why we're there in the ER.
And doctor, you have resources on your website, right, that people can go to know where to go. So where can they find that?
There's a website, intermountainhealthcare.org /Get Care Now is a great option to look at those different scenarios of where you can be seen.
Excellent. Intermountainhealth.org is also a great resource as well. Dr. Miller, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you to Intermountain Health for the sponsored interview.